It's shocking how at the start of the year, most people were anticipating this movie to get a bunch of Oscar nominations. And now, here we are, this movie is out, and maybe Danielle Brooks will get in for Best Supporting Actress, but that's really it, which is wild. So, The Color Purple is kind of, but not really, a remake of a Steven Spielberg movie from 40 years ago, except now, rather than being a remake of that, it's more of a interpretation of the Broadway show based on the movie. So, like, you had Spielberg, Broadway, and now this. And how does it turn out? Well, I mean, I kind of have very mixed feelings. The performances, particularly Fantasia Barrino and Danielle Brooks, are phenomenal. Like some of the best acting of the year. They both really give it their all, and they both have particular parts of this film where they just really stand out above everyone else here. But then you also have performances from Taraji P. Henson and Coleman Domingo, which are also pretty good, but just not at that level. And yeah, I mean, even though those performances are all really great, I just feel like the filmmaking doesn't really support the performances as much as it could have. As this is an interpretation of a Broadway show, there are all these big, grand musical sequences, and most of them are really done in these like one take type of styles where it feels like you're watching the stage play and like what's on screen is the stage. There's not a lot of cutting, and they don't take full advantage of the fact that this is a film rather than a stage play. I feel like just they could have done more editing, they could have done more score, they could have done more cinematography that's more interesting and not just a bunch of wide shots. This very much felt like I was watching the recording of a stage play. And, in some cases, I could see why some people might have liked that, but to me, I was pretty disappointed because you could have used those filmmaking skills to enhance the performances from people like Danielle Brooks, Fantasia Barrino, Taraji P. Henson, etc. But instead, because the majority of the shots in this film are wide shots, and you very rarely take advantage of the fact that you have all these filmmaking tools at your disposal, what you get is a good film that just had such potential to be great. This film, if it just had more interesting cinematography and editing, would have been one of the best films of the year. The music is good enough, the performances, like I said, were phenomenal, but it just felt like I was watching Broadway rather than watching a movie. And also, just as a story, The Color Purple is so incredibly dark and devastating. And I remember watching the Spielberg film, and although it's not the most exciting film, you feel the devastation. Like, the majority of my time watching that film, I was chronically depressed for like 2 hours. And during this film, I didn't feel that. And maybe that was intentional, but this is just such dark subject matter. And I feel like it just didn't capture that darkness. This film didn't feel dark enough. And I get that it is a Christmas holiday release meant to be seen by families, but darkness is a part of life, and I feel like it shouldn't have been shied away from as much as it was in this film. But really, despite all those issues, all the performances drove home the impact of this film, and as a story, The Color Purple it's a great story. And the music was good. It wasn't great, but it was good enough to give this a 3.5-star rating in my book. But what about all of you? What did you think of The Color Purple? Please feel free to let me know in the comments down below. And while you're down there, please feel free to like and subscribe as well. This is a really small channel that I am so passionate about, and I would love to have your support. I will see you all in the next review. Take care.